Hi, we're Josh
and Ariel Walmsley,
owners of Green Valley Tree LLC, based in North Windham.
We're proud to sponsor Connecticut East this week and to serve the communities of Windham and New London counties with our tree removal and plant healthcare services.
Visit our website at greenvalleytreeworks.com for a full list of our services or give us a call on 860-234-4041. We look forward to hearing from you.
In this Connecticut East This Week, we talk at length with Jason Guyot, who was recently appointed as the official CEO and president of Foxwoods Casino, from his beginnings to top job and the recent agreement with the state for online betting and gambling. Plus, we take a look at other stories making the headlines from around the region. This is Connecticut East This Week. Hello, I'm Brian Scott Smith. He wanted to work in social services, but ended up running one of the largest casinos in the world. Jason Guyot was only 13 years old when Foxwoods opened its doors in 1992, and now at just 42 years old has been officially appointed as CEO and president of Foxwoods Casino. Connecticut East This Week sat down with him for a lengthy chat about what it all means to him and being the first tribal member appointed to the position. Jason, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Brian.
After a year having been named the interim president and CEO fairly recently, it was made official, but I mean, the interim bit was dropped. Give us a bit of a brief background about you and obviously your career at Foxwoods.
I'm a local guy. I grew up in the local area. I grew up about 15 miles down the road. I'm a member of the Mashantucket Pequot tribe, so this is my home for my entire lifetime. I graduated college locally at Mitchell College in New London, and coming out of college, I was looking for a job and had the opportunity to join Foxwoods as the manager of employment and diversity in 2003. Mike, that was really the kickoff of my career here at Foxwoods, so I've been here for over 18 years now. Always thought I would be in social services, but being in human resources was pretty much in line with what I thought I was going to be doing. I continued to work in human resources and ended up overseeing all of the international recruitment programs that Foxwoods had, where we would bring international workers on J1 and H2B visas from both Europe and South America several times a year. So I was traveling internationally a few years into the job. I really enjoyed that, got some great experience, a lot of presenting opportunities for thousands of students, and it really jump-started my career, and I enjoyed it. I was then promoted to Director of Employment in 2005, where I did many things in the employment office. One of the major accomplishments back then, we were paper everything. I'm sure we all remember that, and I transitioned the department and the organization from an HR perspective in employment to all digital. So we got rid of all the paper applications. We put a digital system in. So it was very successful. I then had an opportunity to go to Las Vegas with a general manager that we hired at the time to oversee our expansion, which was planned to open in late 2007, early 2008. At the time, it was the MGM Grand at Foxwoods. It's now called the Fox Tower. So I was going to be the liaison between MGM Grand and Foxwoods as we were combining policies and procedures and HR practices. And I made and had a very good relationship with the general manager. Obviously, I guess I made an impression because when we came back from Las Vegas, she offered me a position to oversee operations in the expansion property and move out of human resources. So that was in late 2007, and I jumped at the opportunity. Always was really interested in coming on to ops and didn't plan on it happening, but sometimes great things you never plan on. So really took advantage of that opportunity, came on board in late 2007 and was part of the opening team for what was MGM Grand at Foxwoods and now Fox Tower, which was basically 800-room hotel, 60,000 square foot casino, a 4,000 seat theater, a 30,000 square foot spa, 6 restaurants, and 7 retail outlets. So quite a big facility to be an expansion of Foxwoods. And that's, like I said, really where I kicked off on the ops side. Since that time, I've continued to move up in operations and holding positions as assistant general manager at that facility. There was a time when I was interim chief marketing officer for Foxwoods. And then I led to the position of senior vice president of resort operations, where I basically had all non-gaming operations at Foxwoods. It was then, while I was in that position, where I was appointed interim president and CEO, as our president and CEO had left and resigned. And so that position was available, and the tribal council appointed me into that role, where I've been for the past 12 months until recently, now kind of formally in the position as president and CEO of Foxwoods.
You're a young man, 42 years old. What was it like being named the interim CEO and president, and now, of course, officially, CEO and president?
It's been an honor for me for many reasons. I mentioned that this is my hometown. This is where I grew up. I'm a member of the Mashantucket Pequot Tribe, and so being the first tribal member to be appointed into president and CEO is something I'm extremely proud and honored to be the first. With that, it comes a lot of pressure and weight, because as I enter the facility, even as working in some of my other roles, I always had the added weight of being a member of the tribe and the pressures that I feel just naturally of wanting this facility to be successful, wanting the tribe to be successful, wanting, the nation as a whole, the tribal nation, to continue and to continue to be funded and continue to look into the future of what other possibilities we had to help support the tribe. So it's an extreme honor for me. But again, a lot of pressure on myself, not just me, but the team to perform. I think we have the right team to do it, and very excited about the opportunity moving forward.
I was going to say, obviously, you've mentioned being the first tribal member to hold the post. How important was that, not only to maybe you, but to the organization as well?
I think it's extremely important. One of the main reasons is this isn't a pit stop in my career. This is where I live. This is my home. There's an extra sense of importance to that. And I think that feeling has resonated with the leadership team here, that we all need to work together, and we're all in this together for the betterment of Foxwoods and the Mashantucket Pequot Tribe. But I think it's meant a lot to the tribal council, the tribal membership, to see what's possible. And part of my goal is to lead by example, and also to provide more opportunities for the membership of the tribe in general. I mean, it's a very small tribe. There's about 1,000 members in the tribe. And, there's only about 600 that are over the age of 18. So extremely small tribe. And, this is the lifeblood. This organization is what funds all of the government for the tribe. So like I said, it's extremely important of our success here. But I think, as a nation, I think everyone is really proud that we finally can say we have a member that's leading. And, part of our goal of being self-sustaining, whether that's through government or through our businesses, just a step in the right direction. And I couldn't be more proud to be in the role.
In your previous role, or one of your previous roles, you brought a lot to Foxwoods and changed it from what was just a gaming sort of like facility to a destination resort with outlet shopping. Talk to us about that. Why did you feel the need to do that?
7 years ago now, I was asked to oversee all on-property development. And, we're a huge property. We're over 9 million square feet. And at that time, the property really hadn't been updated with new brands and new exciting amenities in quite some time. So it was very exciting for me. And at the time, I worked for the president and CEO was a gentleman by the name of Felix Rappaport, who unfortunately passed away several years ago while he was still in his role as president and CEO. He was one of my mentors, but we worked very closely together. Both of us shared the vision of really creating an integrated resort destination that was just much more than gaming. And so that transition's been happening for some time now. And it's great to continue that with me in this role. But we had done so many great things, and it made additions to the property. The Tanger Outlet Mall at Foxwoods, which is 300,000 square feet of retail outlet mall shopping with 80 stores. We brought the High Flyer zip line, which goes off the top of the Fox Tower, all the way to the Mashantucket Pequot Museum and Research Center. We brought in Monzo World Class Karting, which is an indoor kart racing facility. We brought in many restaurant concepts such as Pudo. We also brought in a sugar factory. We brought in a brewery. So there was a lot of transition happening in the property. And it's great that that is going to continue, but that fully integrated resort destination and having something for everyone, having 9 million square feet all under one roof, competitively, I think it puts us at an advantage. But this isn't the same market as it was back in 1992 when Foxwoods first opened. We were one of 3 gaming jurisdictions in the United States in 1992. There was Las Vegas, there was Atlantic City, and there was Foxwoods Resort Casino in Connecticut. So since that time, now when you fast forward and look out, we're surrounded within 250-mile radius by over 50 different casinos. So the differentiator and the pressure to perform is so much higher than it has been in the past because competition is fierce. And I'm trying to instill that in the team and looking at what's next in the market, what's the next amenity that's going to give us a competitive advantage, and always looking to technology and trying to make sure we're focused on the future and not just on what's happening day to day here.
And talk to us, if you would, about yours and the Mashantucket's relationship with the Mohegans, because you are the 2 tribes here in the state. You have the casinos. There's obviously an element of competition between you, but I take it you get on.
We do. We get on. It's a very competitive environment. There's a long history between the tribes that dates, back to the 1600s, and I don't think much of that affects us today, but we are fiercely competitive. We're 2 of the largest casinos in the United States, and we're 15 miles apart. So you can imagine what that means, and being, one of 2 casinos in the state of Connecticut. And so we have a good relationship with the Mohegan Tribe, both on the government side and on the business side, but fiercely competitive. And trust me, as good as the relationship might be, we both want what's best for our tribes and our organization, and we're both striving to be dominant in the market. So with having a good relationship, there's also challenges, and we wish the best for them, but we're here to stay, and we want to take our fair share of the market. So that's what our goal is going to be.
Now, fairly recently, of course, the Mashantucket tribe signed on with the Mohegans and the state with regards to online sports betting and gambling. That will finally come to the state. Just how important a move is this, for Foxwoods and the industry as a whole?
Listen, we're thrilled to come to the agreement with the state and Mohegan on sports betting and iGaming. It's extremely important to both tribes and the state, in strengthening the state's economic development, also building a stable future for both tribes, tribal community, and offering even more growth and advancement opportunities. So it's something that we had been working on and discussing with the state for many years. The legislation still has to be passed, but we do have an agreement with the state, and we think it's a fair agreement that takes many factors into consideration. But I think overall, it's great for all parties involved and in the community and the residents of the state of Connecticut and what that means for revenue for them to support the state.
Now, COVID-19, of course, brought challenges to every business, and Foxwoods was not immune to that. Now, how did you deal with these? And looking back, is there anything now you feel you could or would have done differently?
Yeah, this has been one of the most challenging times for businesses, not just Foxwoods, but any business. When I took over as interim CEO last April, it was one of the most challenging times in the history of Foxwoods. We focused on our extensive safety measures to make sure as we went into this and pushed to reopen, the number one priority was guest and team member safety. And that drove every single decision we made from that point on. And looking back, an amazing job. We have an unbelievably successful track record. I think our guests and team members both appreciate the hard work we put in and the diligence that we've showed on a daily basis to keep people safe. We've also done many things to help the community, because the quicker the community can get out of this, the better all businesses would be. We've had a testing program for our team members. We opened a mega vaccination clinic here at Foxwoods in partnership with Hartford Healthcare, where we're now vaccinating over 1,500 guests every single day, 7 days a week. with the goal of vaccinating 1 million people in the community by July. And so we've tried to, in such a difficult time, we've tried to find the positive and find ways to help. And we just can't be happier with, all the support we've received. And I think we're going in the right direction. But again, when you look back, there are probably some things in learning that, you do differently. I can't specify one specifically because I'm just so proud of everything this team was able to accomplish given those challenges. And unfortunately, those continue to this day today.
Let's talk about yours and the tribe's relationships with Governor Lamont. It's not always been the best of relationships. Certainly, he's not had always the best of relationships with both of the tribes. Why do you think that is, and what challenges has that brought as a consequence?
I couldn't really tell you why that is. Since the time the governor came on, he's always had the support, I believe, of both tribal nations, but specific, the Mashantucket Pequot tribe. We've had very up and down relationships with the government to government relationships. And really, that's the most important piece. And whatever I might say is just my opinion as a resident of the state of Connecticut and a tribal member for the tribe. Came to this landmark agreement, and it wasn't easy. And there was a lot of give and take. And we hope that relationship continues to grow because we're both in this together and we all want what's best for our constituents. We want what's best for the tribe. The governor wants what's best for the tribe and for the state. So there's a lot riding on it. But again, this is a government to government relationship. And so some of those things we just leave for the politicians to chime in on.
And it does just seem, though, looking at, and it's been well documented, that the governor, doesn't always recognize both of the tribes on many things. One, that you are two of the largest employers here in the state of Connecticut, and also you're two of the largest taxpayers as well.
Yeah, and we continue to push that message. I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, between both tribes, since 1992, over $8 billion that has gone into the state coffers since that time. There is the Mohegan and Pequot Fund, that revenues go to the local communities to help fund their governments. That doesn't even count for all the additional revenue through vendors, through construction, the jobs. Two of the biggest employers in the state of Connecticut. And I think that's powerful. And I don't think that we have been recognized enough for that hard work, what we've done to help support the community. And we can't forget, when we opened in 1992, Electric Boat had just laid off 4,000 workers. And so the majority of our team members and dealers that are here and still here to this day, coming on to 29 years, were laid off workers from Electric Boat. What we did for the state at that time, it would have been a very, very difficult situation if the tribe and Foxwoods hadn't opened in 1992. But we've always been here. We're proud of our work in the community. We're proud of our team members. I think we have team members in almost every single county within the entire state of Connecticut and in the surrounding states. I think it should be recognized, and we'll continue to do our best to help. And we can't control, again, I can't control some of the politics of it. All I know is I'm proud of our team and our tribe and everything that we've continued to try to do to partner with the state and support our team members here.
And there's been a lot of talk and, again, a lot of coverage about the potential for a third casino in the state of Connecticut. Where does that stand?
Right now, it's on hold. The pandemic played into that, but also this agreement with the state. The governor was adamant that the East Windsor project would be on hold in order to get the sports betting and iGaming legislation through. So unfortunately, that's on hold for right now. It can be reviewed after the 10th year of the agreement, but we felt and still feel as though that was a viable option. Some great partners in East Windsor, and it's very unfortunate that we're not going to be able to move forward with that project, but who knows what the future will hold. There's been a lot of talk about other possible locations, but the governor was adamant that East Windsor would be put on hold in order to get the sports betting and iGaming deal done.
Now, Foxwoods recently made a commitment to reopen the El San Juan Casino in Puerto Rico. Why is this project important to Foxwoods?
We've done and been involved in a lot of different development projects, but this is the first time in the history of Foxwoods where we've expanded the brand. And you have two iconic brands, the brand of Foxwoods and the brand of the Fairmont El San Juan. And that hotel specifically and that property and the history of that property, we felt there was a lot of alignment with the property in general. We had a great relationship with the group that's down there running it. And we're just extremely excited. We want this to be a grand kickoff for the first Foxwoods casino outside of Connecticut, and we can look for more opportunities into the future.
Are people often surprised when they discover that actually yourself and Mohegan Sun are so big and also outside of Las Vegas? I believe you are the largest casinos outside of Las Vegas.
Yes, we are. And it's very surprising that, in Connecticut, you have two of the largest casinos really in the world. I honestly believe, Brian, both tribes are extremely proud of that. No one would build a facility the size of our facilities anymore. And we try, that can be a challenge, but we also try to take advantage of that square footage we have in really activating it and creating a lot of experiences, which is what our guests are looking for. And specifically coming out of this pandemic, people are looking to get out, have a good time in a safe environment. There's no better place to go than Foxwoods.
Just quickly getting back to Las Vegas, it seems to have lured Mohegan Sun there. They've recently opened up a facility in Las Vegas. You did mention earlier in this interview that when MGM was part of the group, obviously you had some involvement in Las Vegas. What's your involvement with Las Vegas now? Is there anything there, or will you be looking to head back to Las Vegas?
We've had a lot of conversations with different opportunities in Las Vegas. Haven't solidified any to date. Very happy for Mohegan and their venture at Virgin. I wish them the best of luck. It's a challenging time in Vegas right now, challenging time for travelers, but I think we're all going to come out of this. But we're continuing to look in all jurisdictions for the right property in the right location with the right partners to bring the Foxwoods brand to. So I wouldn't be surprised in the future if you do see some activity from Foxwoods in the Vegas area.
As you look forward as the president and CEO, what do you see as maybe some of the challenges that you will need to face and deal with, pandemic aside, going forward?
Thank you so much. That's a great question. But I would say one of the biggest challenges that we're going to continue to have is competition as states look for ways to gain some revenue through taxes or other. As I mentioned, being a monopoly than a duopoly, Connecticut now being surrounded by over 50 different casinos, I think that's going to continue to be one of the biggest challenges. There's a lot of discussions about New York and New York City specifically, when they're going to start to allow table games, maybe in 2023, 2024. Who knows? That could be pushed forward earlier, given all the challenges that the states are having with the pandemic. But I think competition is going to continue to be a big challenge for us. And I'm looking forward to the future.
Well, Jason Guyot, President and CEO of Foxwoods, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. And thank you for giving us some insight not only into you, but also the organization as well. But thank you for joining us on Connecticut East this week.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you very much for having me.
Green Valley Tree LLC is proud to sponsor Connecticut East this week. Contact Green Valley Tree LLC for all your tree removal and plant health care needs and more. Find us at greenvalleytreeworks.com or call 860-234-4041.
Time now for a look at some of the other stories making the headlines in the region recently, sponsored by
the Connecticut Council on Problem Gambling is a nonprofit organization which, through advocacy, prevention, and education, is here to support individuals and families who are impacted by problem gambling. Our helpline, 1-888-789-7777, is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We also have live chat and tech support through our website, www.ccpg.org.
Advocacy groups Disability Rights Connecticut and the National Disability Rights Network have filed complaints with the U.S. Office for Civil Rights over Governor Lamont's new COVID vaccine policy that took effect on April 1st. Deborah Dorfman is the Executive Director of Disability Rights Connecticut and says the governor has ignored CDC guidelines and is failing to give direction to healthcare providers.
Even for the people who are on the list, the way in which the governor's policy is written, it doesn't allow for any guidance to the hospitals or to the public about how the vaccine will actually be prioritized among the groups he has identified. And so he's really left it to the hospitals to decide.
Lamont's new COVID vaccine policy now allows for those 16 and older to get vaccinated and highlighted several at-risk health groups. However, a survey by Disability Rights Connecticut found just 4 hospitals in the state had any detailed protocols on how to deal with people at risk for COVID vaccination. Naval submarine-based personnel from New London and members of the Connecticut National Guard joined forces recently to distribute COVID-19 vaccine at the subbase. Captain David Pitlick, public affairs officer for the Connecticut National Guard, said the Navy had a plan they wanted to try out, and the Guard stepped in to assist.
They were limited by the amount of vaccines that they had received to that point. So we kind of began discussion. We realized that we could help each other. We had additional DoD vaccines, totally separate from what goes out to the general public. And we had the ability to support this. So learning from each other, we were able to get through about 1,000 sailors and Navy personnel in just a matter of a few hours.
The Connecticut National Guard is also assisting the Connecticut Department of Public Health with their vaccination sites around the state and have secured the necessary cold storage equipment needed to store and transport the vaccine safely. In the day this week, the Coast Guard Bark Eagle has secured priority docking at City Pier that will allow it to call New London's waterfront home for at least 20 years. The City Council approved a license agreement with the Coast Guard that provides a berth for the Eagle adjacent to the future National Coast Guard Museum, the $100 million facility to be built behind Union Station. Mayor Michael Passero said having the Eagle, known as America's tall ship, as a feature of the city's waterfront was always part of the long-term vision for the city and museum. The agreement is for 20 years at $1 per year, with provisions to extend Eagle's stay for an additional 10 years. The city acknowledges that the Coast Guard may take steps to provide security during its stay, along with any necessary upgrades to the infrastructure. In the Norwich Bulletin this week, a 41-year-old man who attempted to set fire to an occupied Norwich building in 2018 was sentenced to 12 years in prison and given strict release conditions after one of his victims spoke about her fearfulness of what her ex-boyfriend was capable of. In addition to the prison sentence, Tyree Davis was also placed on 10 years of special parole and was made the recipient of what amounts to a lifetime protective order on behalf of the woman prosecutors said Davis believed was in the Central Avenue building when he attempted to burn it down in January 2018. Davis pleaded guilty to first-degree arson and assault on a public safety officer in October. Prosecutors said Davis was under the impression that his former girlfriend was residing at the Central Avenue property, a commercial building occupied by several people, when he poured an accelerant onto multiple areas of the first and second floor porch before tossing a lit match onto the liquid. And in the Chronicle this week, following more than a year of review, Regional School District 19 school board members have decided to continue using unarmed security officers next school year when they will revisit the School Resource Officer program. That decision was made by a vote of 5-2 with 2 abstentions during a recent board meeting. Several concerns arose from community members. The board decided previously not to have the SRO program for the current school year, with the intention of reassessing for next school year. This included concerns expressed by one group of alumni and community members who were concerned about the possibility of minority students being intimidated by the SROs, who are police officers. And the Connecticut Department of Transport's Highway Safety Office has launched You Drive, You Text, You Pay, a national high-visibility enforcement campaign for National Distracted Driving Awareness Month in April, in partnership with state and local law enforcement and the U.S. Department of Transport's National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. The campaign will step up enforcement efforts to enforce distracted driving laws between April 1st to April 30th. And in next week's Connecticut East this week, one of 2 bills about legalizing marijuana in the state recently passed a slim vote by the Judiciary Committee that could finally see the legalization of marijuana for recreational use in the state, but it still might have some hurdles to clear. That's all from us for this edition. Do send us your questions and story ideas to the show via our website at connecticut-east.com or Facebook or Twitter at Connecticut East and on Instagram at Connecticut East This Week, where you can also listen to the show again on demand. And please like, follow and share on your social media platforms too. I'm Brian Scott Smith. Thank you for listening.